looking to connect a region of over 600 more bridges between our lands.
Hello, Malma Angeles. We're moving to the next stage of the pandemic, and as the world resets to the new normal, we find ourselves seeking the right balance between health and livelihood, constantly adjusting the boundaries between liberty and responsibility. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. First, the Taguig City government has imposed a lockdown on a construction site at the Bonifacio Global City, or BGC, after 6 of its workers tested positive for the coronavirus disease, or COVID-19. The measure was recommended by Taguig Safe City Task Force. On June 18, the City Epidemiology and Disease Surveillance Unit investigated a report on the possible clustering or grouping of individuals with symptoms of fever in a construction site. The workers were among the 27 suspect cases whose test results were released on Tuesday morning. Based on the evaluation of their work environment, certain workers were also tested for dengue, typhoid, and the Zika virus. The city government also said its health response teams would be readily available to the quarantined construction workers. The city government also decided to withhold the details of the construction site, its developer, and its workers to protect their right to privacy and avoid unnecessary and undue harm to all parties involved. The Maldives will reopen its tourist resorts from mid-July after a months-long virus-enforced shutdown, according to the country's president. Joining us live from Maldives is Steffi Dewan. Hello, Steffi.
Hi, Alma. Good morning from Maldives.
Good morning.
Yes, that's the good news for today. President Ibrahim Mohamed Sali on Tuesday announced that Maldives will reopen its borders and resume tourism on July 15th. President Sali revealed that the administration will grant permits to operate resorts before greenlighting the guest house industry in August. Although the government initially stated that all incoming tourists would be tested for COVID-19, Health Protection Agency, or HPA, draft guidelines permitting tourists to enter Maldives without presenting the results of COVID-19 tests. Exempt visitors is scheduled to spend their holidays at resorts from undergoing tests. However, HPA mandated holidaymakers arriving in Maldives to observe social distancing measures and wear face masks. Passengers will also undergo thermal screening and be referred to the airport clinic if high temperatures, breathing difficulties, or other symptoms are observed. Emphasizing on a difficult economy recovery, he noted that the following 6 months would be particularly difficult on various sectors as well as businesses. The travel restrictions implemented as part of Maldives' response to contain the spread of the novel coronavirus have left the country vulnerable to severe economic impacts. Mid-April, World Bank projected that Maldives would be the worst-hit economy in the South Asian region due to the pandemic. Heavily reliant on tourists for revenue, with the industry momentarily grounded to a halt, Maldives estimated a shortfall of approximately $450 million or 6.9 billion NDR in our foreign currency, while projected stated deficit would reach 13 billion this year. And for COVID-19 case updates, as of 6 p.m. today, confirmed an additional 21 cases of COVID-19 infections in Maldives, with a total number of 2,238 cases. Back to you, Alma.
Thank you, Steffi, for that good news, and we look forward for more. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Alma. Reporting live from Maldives, this is Steffi Huan, and we live in interesting times.
Now, joining us from Phuket, Thailand is Farah Benito. So, Farah, I heard that online travel registration is no longer needed to enter or leave the island. Hello, Farah.
Hello, Alma. Good afternoon. Yes, that is correct. And before we move on to our report, I am here at Three Monkeys Restaurant, a unique restaurant set in a jungle somewhere in Phuket Town. And moving on to our latest news here in Phuket today, according to the Phuket News, Phuket Provincial Police Deputy Commander Colonel Sirikong has confirmed yesterday, 23rd of June, that people entering or leaving Phuket will no longer need to register their travel details on the gophuket.com online platform, as the process has been suspended for now. Last June 15, Phuket provincial government submitted an official request with Ministry of Interior officials in Bangkok for provincial officials to be able to use gophuket.com after the emergency decree has been lifted. However, Phuket provincial government has now commanded the provincial police to cease enforcing the gophuket.com online has advised that they can just use Saitana web platform to register their travel details. Colonel Sermpan said that people still need to use the Saitana application or the web platform, and has advised everyone that the use of the online registration may return in the future for crime prevention and for development of the Smart City project. Meanwhile, Alma, the popular Lad Yai walking street market in Talang Road, Phuket Town, held every Sunday, will return on July 5. The announcement came earlier on June 22, confirming that the street market, which is popular to the local residents and visitors of the island, will be held at the time from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. The Lajay Walking Street Market was just one of the major mass gathering events across the islands that were cancelled or postponed in March to help stave off the spread of the COVID-19. Also announced as cancelled at the time were the official Songkran Thai New Year festivities in Patong, along with the annual Phuket Bike Week event. The return of the market has been much welcomed with local residents while observing the new normal requirements, and all visitors having their temperature checked and providing alcohol gel to cleanse their hands before being allowed into the market area. All people entering the market by filling out a registration attendance form. Phuket City Municipality urged people when entering the market to wear a face mask and to keep at least 1 meter distance from each other. The municipality also called the people to join the market in creating community economy together, but also uniting to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Back to you, Alma.
Yes, so I know that just last June 22, other entertainment areas, especially the nightlife entertainment, have reopened. Can you tell me and update me on how the citizenry or the population, are they able to comply with the new normal requirements?
Yes, actually, Alma, police health officials here in Phuket are constantly conducting series of inspection of night venues and other establishments. And in fact, last night at 8 p.m., officials have inspected 3 alcohol serving venues operating under restaurant licenses. And I think all of these, I've heard in the news, all of these were found to be enforcing the health guidelines. Officials have inspected them, our social distancing and body temperature were checked before they were allowed to enter the venue. Alma?
All right. Thank you very much, Farah, for your updates there in Phuket. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you very much, Alma. Reporting from Phuket, Thailand, this is Farah Pinata Piso, Philippe, Time.
And staying in Thailand, joining us live is Esther Odanga. Hello, Esther.
Hello, good afternoon, Alma, and to all our viewers all around the world. So here's another latest update from Thailand. Based on Nation Thailand, authorities are still trying to figure out who will be allowed to enter Thailand and how it should be handled. But today, the government narrowed it down to 7 groups of foreigners, some under the Developing Travel Bubble Scheme and others that may require quarantine. The Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration still plans to discuss the proposal groups with government officials before nailing down the final plan. The first 4 groups will probably have to go through state quarantine to enter the country, including businessmen and investors. laborers and exporters, medical tourists, permanent residents of Thailand, such as spouse of Thai nationals. On the other hand, the three groups will be able to skip, which would allow people to travel to limited areas and arrive from limited countries or cities. Businessmen visiting the country from low-risk countries for quick meeting or dealings whose work is essential to the Thai economy will be allowed to enter after a strict screening process. A first wave of tourists from low-risk countries would be allowed to enter as well as government guests. The list of countries that will be included in the travel bubble is yet to be finalized. And here's another news. Thai trials of COVID-19 vaccine reach make or break stage. According to Bangkok Post, Thai scientists administered a second dose of an experimental COVID-19 vaccine to monkeys on Monday, looking for another positive response to enable clinical trials in humans as early as October. The Thai vaccine is one of the at least 100 being worked on globally as the world reels for a devastating virus that has infected more than 8.7 million people around the world. The government is backing the trials and hopes it can have cost-effective vaccine manufactured domestically and ready for next year. Dr. Kia Trurungtam, director of Chulalongkorn University's Center for Excellence in Vaccine Research and Development, said that there's a very impressive response from animal trials that they have conducted. Dr. Kat said if there is a similar response after the second dose, the program would order 10,000 doses made for human trial, adding that his group had been flooded with offers from volunteers. Back to you, Alma.
All right. Thank you very much, Esther, for your updates there in Pattaya, Thailand. Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you. And reporting live from Pattaya, Thailand, this is Esther Adana. We live in interesting times.
To Malaysia now, foreigners with expired social visit passes can now get an extension from the immigration offices. Joining us live is Mirna Soriano. Hello, Mirna.
Hi, Alma. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For the latest news in Malaysia, foreigners whose social visit passes expired during Movement Control Order or MCO period can go to immigration offices to get their passes extended, says Datuk Seri Ismail Sabriak. The senior minister also said that for foreigners whose social visit passes end during the recovery MCO, which is in force from June 10 to August 31st, they can go straight to the airport to go back to their respective countries. He also said in a statement on Tuesday, June 23rd, that this has to be done within 14 days of the end of the recovery MCO. Last week, Ismail Sabri said that foreigners with expired visa has no excuse not to renew them during the recovery MCO as immigration offices are now open. He said if foreigners want to stay for a longer period, they must renew their visa. The minister made the comment after he was asked to clarify reports that some Indian tourists whose visas had expired were among those detained during recent operations against illegal immigrants. During the previous MCO, where immigration offices were closed, those whose visa expired were only required to show airline tickets when leaving the country to travel back home. Meanwhile, in the education sector, Education Minister Muhammad Jidin says Putrajaya decided to allow students sitting for major to return to school today, Wednesday, June 24, so that his ministry would have a 2-day space to improve any inadequacies in the standard operating procedures or SOPs. In an interview with several media representatives yesterday, he said this was necessary as this was the first time the government would be introducing the SOPs for schools. He said school today would run from today to Thursday for Kelantan, Terengganu, Kedah, and Johor. For all other states, schools will be held from today until Friday. However, he said the SOPs had been tested and found to work well. He said that the Education and Health Ministries, as well as the National Security Council, were satisfied with the SOPs following several dry runs conducted at selected schools. He said the SOP would continue to be evaluated based on issues that arise during the school sessions. And that is the news for today in Malaysia. Back to you, Alma.
All right, thank you very much. Miria Soriano reporting from our EBC Kuala Lumpur Bureau. Thank you.
Thank you, Alma. And reporting live from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, this is Mirna Soriano. We'll live in interesting times.
The ASEAN Plus 3 has decided to strengthen their emergency liquidity program to combat the financial crisis brought about by the pandemic. Joining us live from Cambodia is Crystal Ann Ballesteros. Hello, Crystal Ann.
Hi, Alma. Good afternoon, and to all our online viewers. For Cambodia News Update, the Republic of Korea, China, Japan, and 10 ASEAN nations, including Cambodia, had strengthened their emergency liquidity program to better cope with possible financial crisis. The move came after a revised agreement of the Regional Financial Safety Net, known as the Chiang Mai Initiative Multilateralization, or CMIM, went into effect earlier on the day. The Korean Ministry of Economy and Finance said in a statement. The 13 nations agreed to revise the agreement in May last year to reinforce financial support, including the flexibility to extend the period of provision under the IMF-linked portion of the CMIM agreement. They also agreed to add an overarching legal basis for conditionality in order for the CMIM to support members in addressing their risks and vulnerabilities through policy recommendations as well as financial support. The CMIM launch in 2010 refers to the $240 billion pool that can be tapped through currency swap deals in times of financial crisis. ASEAN comprises Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Thailand, Singapore, and Vietnam. Related to that, Prime Minister Hun Sen will participate in the 36th ASEAN Summit held under the theme Cohesive and Responsive via video conference on Friday, June 26, 2020, in an invitation sent by the Vietnamese Prime Minister. According to a press release of the Ministry of Information this morning, the Prime Minister will accompanied by Prak Sukon, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Hang Chun Naron, Minister of Education, Youth and Sports, Pan Sorasak, Minister of Commerce, Dr. Man Bonheng, Minister of Health, and Mrs. Eng Katan Fabi, Minister of Women's Affairs, along with a number of senior government officials. It was stated that the 36th virtual summit will focus on ASEAN's collective efforts in addressing the COVID-19 pandemic and promote the post-COVID-19 socio-economic recovery ways and means to realize the ASEAN Community Vision 2025 and ASEAN's engagement with external partners and global community. Prior to the 36th ASEAN Summit, Deputy Prime Minister Mr. Sukon, together with ASEAN foreign ministers, will also participate in a meeting of the 21st ASEAN Political Security Community Council meeting and the 26th ASEAN Coordinating Council via video conference, which will focus on some important topics and the preparation for the 36th ASEAN Summit. Back to you, Alma.
Okay. With the decreasing number of virus cases, I know that some borders, especially in Europe, have already opened their borders. In Cambodia, with their border we have a border with Vietnam. What is the update? Do you have any update on cross-border movement there?
Yes, Alma. The government yesterday informed Vietnam regarding its decision to lift the ban on cross-border movement via border shared with the country, but said prevention guidelines remain in place to mitigate risk of coronavirus transmission. The move comes 3 months after Prime Minister Hun Sen declared the closure of borders shared with Vietnam, a day after the latter pulled up its drawbridge and imposed a nationwide lockdown in a bid to control imported COVID-19 cases. In a diplomatic note sent yesterday to the Vietnamese embassy, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs imparted the annulment of border restrictions between Cambodia and Vietnam as of June 19. Back to you, Alma.
All right. Thank you very much, Crystal Ann, for your updates there in Cambodia.
Back you too, Alma. And this is Crystal Ann from Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and we live in interesting times.
Thank you. All right, domestic tourists are now returning to Da Nang in Vietnam, reviving its retail market. Joining us live from Vietnam is Eliana Faith Sebastian. Hello, Eliana.
Hi, Alma.
Hello. Good afternoon from Manila.
Good afternoon. Here's the latest update here in Vietnam. Da Nang is reviving its retail market post-COVID-19. Domestic visitors to Da Nang have started to rise again now that Vietnam has contained the COVID-19 pandemic. The city's retail sales have also been recovering, and the city's industry and trade sector has implemented a consumer stimulus program to ensure it continues to rebound. The number of domestic tourists to Da Nang has started to increase in the recent days. A range of goods is part of the city's stimulus program, which creates favorable conditions for visitors to buy at special prices. Since social distancing measures were eased, retail sales in Da Nang have seen a 19% increase in revenue. The city's stimulus program, lasting to the end of the year, has attracted the participation of 1,200 local companies with commitments made to offer discounts. According to the city's Department of Industry and Trade, the retail market has begun to prosper, but local purchasing power is still not high. It has therefore cooperated with other units to identify specific solutions to increase purchasing power. Along with promotions, local businesses are also ensuring trade is civilized and are protecting consumer interests in order to help the domestic market provide leverage for the city's economic growth. Another update, Alma, all economic sectors can now join power generation, Prime Minister Phuc says. Prime Minister Nguyen Xuan Phuc emphasized that all economic sectors can now join power generation while he was addressing a meeting on mechanisms for development of power sources and networks, according to VGP. The renewable power prices have fallen quickly over the past time, raising its competitiveness over traditional energy sources, while many localities have turned their back on coal-fired power for fear of environmental pollution, according to the Ministry of Industry and Trade. The above changes require scientific and comprehensive evaluation of power development, the ministry said, adding that it will submit a new power development master plan through 2030, Vision to 2045, that includes mechanisms for implementation of future power projects. Representatives from various ministries and agencies voiced support for a fresh master plan that lays focus on renewable energy development and properly power structure. Prime Minister Phuc spoke highly of the power sector's efforts in ensuring sufficient power supply as demand skyrocketed over the past days. The government chief, however, ordered the Ministry of Industry and Trade to promptly clarify what have hindered the progress of solar, wind, and gas power projects. For investment capital sources, Prime Minister Phuc called for socialization of investment capital, including from foreign-funded sector. He agreed on the need to supplement the 7th Master Plan for Power Development as a proposal of the Ministry of Industry and Trade and asked for early submission of the 8th Master Plan. Back to you, Alma.
All right. Thank you very much, Eliana, for your updates there in Vietnam. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you so much, Alma, reporting live from Da Nang, Vietnam. This is Eliana Sebastian. We live in interesting times.
ASEAN in Focus, we'll be right back.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants.
You're just too good to be true. It up, you can't make it broke with a dame, I should have broke you back when I was a child.
Abangan ng kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by
SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Veg-approved Nutri-Choice, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutri-Choice. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate NEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, Our Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, IMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-Made Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-Made Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
Skyway Stages 1 and 2, the elevated toll road system project, run from a section of the South Luzon Expressway from Alabang to Magallanes, Makati. The Skyway Stage 3 is an elevated expressway connecting the South Luzon Expressway through the existing Skyway Stages 1 and 2 to the North Luzon Expressway via Balintawak. Skyway Stage 4 is an 80-kilometer mixed elevated and at-grade toll road that will connect the existing Skyway system starting from the FTI section all the way to Bulacan.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Welcome back. A 5.9 magnitude earthquake jolted Indonesia's Sulawesi Island, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, but there was no tsunami warning or immediate reports of damage. The strong offshore quake struck at a relatively deep 102 kilometers. The epicenter was some 97.5 kilometers east-southeast of Gorontalo City in North Sulawesi, according to the USGS. Shallow quakes tend to cause more damage than deeper ones. The Southeast Asian archipelago is one of the most disaster-prone nations on Earth. In 2018, a 7.5 magnitude quake and a subsequent tsunami in Palu on Sulawesi Island left more than 4,300 people dead or missing. In other news, Singapore's parliament was dissolved on Tuesday for an election, even as the city-state struggles to recover from a major coronavirus outbreak that has swept through crowded migrant worker dormitories. Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong announced he had advised the president to dissolve parliament for a general election. The date of the vote will be announced later, but it is expected in July. In a televised address, he sought to play up the authorities' handling of the virus crisis, saying that Singapore had responded decisively and the country was now in a stable position. The PAP has ruled affluent Singapore since it gained self-rule from Britain in 1959, and the party which holds 82 of 88 elected seats in Parliament is assured of victory. But holding a poll as the city-state emerges from the outbreak is risky, and it is not clear whether it will boost the government's support or damage it. While the government insists it has successfully tackled the virus, it has been accused of not doing enough to protect migrant workers. Opposition groups have also attacked the timing of the poll, with the Singapore Democratic Party saying that calling an election next month would needlessly jeopardize the safety and health of Singaporeans. ASEAN in Focus, we'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Robin and I'm 5 years old. My mom and dad said many people are getting sick. That is why we have to stay at home. That is why I cannot go to school. I cannot play outside. And I cannot even visit my friends. I can only go outside if we visit the doctor or if we need to buy some food. And when we get home, we have to wash our hands. While I'm at home, I do my homework, clean up my toys, help cooking our food, and help my parents with their work. Please stay home so we can all play together again. Bye!
The Singapore Prime Minister's estranged brother said Wednesday he has joined an opposition party ahead of elections next month, presenting a new challenge to the country's long-ruling government. The city-state's parliament was dissolved Tuesday for a general election on July 10, even as the country struggles to recover from a major coronavirus outbreak that has swept through migrant worker dormitories. Lee Hsien-yang is locked in a long-running row with his sibling, Prime Minister Lee Hsien-loong, accusing him of seeking to capitalize on the legacy of their father, Singapore's late founding leader. The 62-year-old met with Tan Cheng Bock, the leader of new opposition group Progress Singapore Party, or PSP, Wednesday morning, and he revealed that he had recently become a member. He said, "I joined the party because I think that Tan is committed to doing the right thing for Singapore and Singaporeans, and he loves the country and has brought together a group of people who share his vision." He would not be drawn on whether he planned to run as a candidate in the election. Tan, a popular figure who was once a lawmaker with the ruling People's Action Party, or PAP, said that Lee Hsien-yang was not just an ordinary person. He said his father is the founder of Singapore, so that is very important. Their party, launched last year, will not threaten the PAP's decades-long hold on power, but the combination of a Lee family member and Tan could draw some voters away from the ruling party, according to observers. The Canadian government is providing an additional 1.9 million Canadian dollars, approximately 70.2 million pesos, to its pandemic assistance to the Philippines on top of the 1.18 million Canadian dollars it announced last June 10. The additional funding brings to more than 3 million Canadian dollars. Ottawa's support to Manila's fight against the coronavirus disease 2019. Canada continues to contribute to international efforts to address the ongoing pandemic by providing urgent and necessary funding, including to support those who are most vulnerable as the COVID-19 health crisis evolves. We recognize that for many people, particularly women and children, the pandemic may have significant and lasting adverse effects on their health, prosperity, and opportunities, according to Canadian Ambassador to the Philippines, Peter MacArthur. He said, "We are committed to supporting our partners in the government of the Philippines in their life-saving work." Canada is adding 1.9 million Canadian dollars to the existing enhanced mother-newborn child health in remote areas through healthcare and community engagement, or EMBRACE project, implemented by Adventist Development and Relief Agency Canada. This additional assistance will support activities such as information dissemination on COVID-19, training of frontline healthcare workers on clinical management and contact tracing, and provision of sexual and reproductive health services, including counseling and psychosocial support. It'll also equip temporary health facilities with portable toilets, shower areas, and hand washing facilities, including procurement of personal protective equipment, testing kits, disinfectants, sanitation tents, and beds, among others. Philippine Ambassador to Belgium, Eduardo Jose A. de Vega, together with Consul Charles Andre Makespak, Cultural Officer Liza Jane Estalilia, and incoming Honorary Consul for the Flanders region, Ronnie de Blaire, met in Leuven on June 17 with officials of the NATE's Lab of Virology, Antiviral Drug and Vaccine Research, Rega Institute for Medical Research, Catholic University Leuven, who are attempting to develop a safe and efficient vaccine for the COVID-19 virus. The embassy team was welcomed at the Rega Institute of Leuven by Professor of Virology and President of the International Society for Antiviral Research, Professor Johan Nates, PhD, Head of Contact Tracing for Belgium, Associate Professor of Medicine, Leuven, and former spokesperson of Belgium's Interfederal Crisis Center, who led the daily press briefings on the COVID-19 situation in Belgium. Dr. Emmanuel Andre, Group Leader of the Molecular Vaccinology and Vaccine Discovery of the Rega Institute, Dr. Kai Balmer, PhD, and Director of Vaccine Clinical Development, Estel van Brekkel, and Business Development Coordinator, Leuven, R.D. Bart Geers. The Rega Institute is currently developing the Regavax Corona, a live attenuated reagent developed in cultured cells that is based on the yellow fever vaccine, which has been safely used on 800 million people over 80 years. Professor Nates emphasized that what sets their research apart from others is the fact that they're conducting tedious and extensive animal research without rushing into immediate human testing. He added that they're targeting for the vaccine to only require one shot as opposed to 2 or 3 shots, which would be more manageable for health authorities to implement in terms of budget and logistics. If their animal testing will not encounter any catastrophic failures in the coming months, the research team is targeting the end of 2020 to begin phase 1 of human trials with 50 to 100 healthy volunteers in Belgium. They also indicated that if phase 1 proves to be successful, they will hopefully begin with phase 2 onward by early 2021 and will need a total of 2,000 healthy volunteers from different countries, which may include the Philippines. The research team, in fact, showed a considerable interest in the Philippines and said they are also developing drugs for rabies and dengue, which they know are prevalent in the country. They're also aware of the problems encountered with the previous Dengvaxia vaccinations and promised to pay extra attention on safety in case they partner with Filipino scientists to conduct vaccine trials in the country. Ambassador de Vega said Belgium and the Philippines share special historical links, and it would be another milestone if their experts could work together to benefit all humankind. ASEAN in Focus will be right back.
defense is still containment.
We are in uncharted territory.
Final volume 450. If I want to 100%. Running back. Construction.
In commemoration of the 159th birthday of our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal, Malu Francisco takes us on a visit to Wilhelmsfeld, where our national hero wrote the last chapters of Noli Me Tangere. Take a look.
The city of Heidelberg, southwest of Germany, is a top destination for people looking for inspiration. Thanks to the Heidelberg's romantic landscape and colorful history. Located in the state of Baden-Württemberg, Heidelberg is home to Germany's oldest university, noted for its excellent Augen Clinic or eye clinic. The national hero of the Philippines, Dr. Jose Rizal, trained in ophthalmology in the University Eye Clinic in 1886. From Heidelberg, if you'd walk on the side of the Odenwald mountain, just like what Dr. Jose Rizal had done, at a distance of around 15 kilometers, you'd reach the charming quiet village of Wilhelmsfeld. A well-known health resort, Wilhelmsfeld is the birthplace of the German-Philippine friendship begun by Dr. Jose Rizal and Pastor Karl Ulmer of Wilhelmsfeld. Step back in time, the year is 1886. From April to June, Rizal spent his vacation in Wilhelmsfeld upon the invitation of Pastor Ulmer. Rizal met Pastor Ulmer and his family while taking a walk in Heidelberg.
In a town outside of Heidelberg in Wilhelmsfeld, you can go to Jose Rizal Park, where you can find the statue of Jose Rizal, which commemorates his stay in Wilhelmsfeld in Heidelberg in 1886. Also found are 4 figureheads of those who inspired him, doctors and other philosophers at the time.
The bronze monument of Rizal was built by the German-Philippine Society, created by the renowned Filipino sculptor Anastasio Caido. The park gives visitors a peek at Philippine history as a colony of Spain for almost 400 years from the 16th to the 19th centuries.
5, 6, 7, and 8. These steps signify or symbolize the 7,000 and plus 100 islands of the Philippines.
The Rizal Park could also be regarded as an opener to understanding true friendship and love of one's country. Let's meet the academic mentors and friends of Rizal in the park. Professor Dr. Otto Becker from the Eye Clinic of the University of Heidelberg. Here Rizal learned to use the newly invented instrument then for examining the interior of the eye, the ophthalmoscope. Rudolf Virchow, known as the father of modern pathology, the first to describe and name diseases such as leukemia, embolism, and thrombosis. Virchow saw the genius in Rizal, so he made Rizal a member of the Berlin Society for Anthropology, Ethnology, and Prehistory. And Rizal's friends, Pastor Karl Ulmer, of Wilhelmsfeld, Rizal's host while on vacation. With the help of Pastor Ulmer, Rizal mastered the German language, which became an asset for him in meeting prominent scientists of Europe. Ferdinand Blumentritt, a respected researcher and expert in Philippine culture and languages, although he never set foot on the Philippines, Rizal and Blumentritt corresponded in German about education and the Philippine culture for a very long time.
Ein sehr gebildeter, ein sehr hochstudierter Mann.
Hat die Bücher Noli Me Tangere und El Filibusterismo geschrieben. Diese Bücher haben den Philippines inspiriert, für die Unabhängigkeit des Landes zu kämpfen.
And instead of pushing for a bloody fight, which is barbaric, he fought with diplomacy and dignity, using pen and his wit as his greatest weapons.
Rizal wrote the last chapters of Noli Me Tangere in this house while guest of the Ulmer family. The book was in Spanish. Noli Me Tangere is a historical novel depicting abuses by the friars and injustice under the Spanish colonial rule in the Philippines, published in Berlin in 1887. A gift of friendship between Germany and the Philippines is found in the Philippines today in the Luneta Park near the monument of Dr. Jose Rizal, the original water fountain that used to be in the yard of Pastor Ulmer's home in Wilhelmsfeld. Imagine a 25-year-old Rizal drinking from the fountain. The German village of Wilhelmsfeld gave the water fountain to the Philippines in 1964. More than 100 years have gone by since Dr. Rizal met Pastor Ulmer in Heidelberg and spent his vacation with the Ulmer family in Wilhelmsfeld. The friendship that began in 1886 lives on until today. Every year in Rizal Park in Wilhelmsfeld, Germany, Germans and Filipinos and their guests gather in the park to commemorate the birth and death anniversaries of Dr. Jose Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines. For Eagle News, Marilu Francisco. With Marie Francisco Weir, we are one with 25.
And that's our news for today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alma Angeles, and we live in interesting times.